Here we go. Time to do some drawing. Jerzy Drozd, cartoonist and teaching artist. And I am penciling a page of the Captain SRSLY comic, the next one that I'm working on, which I'm sure I'll talk about what the Captain SRSLY comic is as I go. You can see the roughs are done, and now I'm getting ready to move on to the final pencils that I can print out and then ink on paper, which I'll live stream that when I'm done. Let's go to this page because it looks like, or this panel looks like a simpler panel to do. At least there's not like any technical background stuff, and it's a nice big close-up of characters. Penciling in Clip Studio Paint. Many of us have heard of this application by now, if you're interested in comics and illustration. The short version is it's Photoshop, but for making comics. I didn't do a drawing warm-up before starting. So that's why I'm starting with, and that's why I left this work to be done on this panel, because I knew that this one would be, relatively speaking, an easier panel to do. It doesn't, like I said, it's a close-up of the character. A lot of poses I'm used to doing. Try to like capitalize on that self-knowledge so when it comes time to draw, if I don't have time for a warm-up, I can sort of get warmed up on a part of the page that would be easy to do, if that makes sense. Character is Turnbuckle Tootweiler. Wrestling champ, hence the name Turnbuckle. He's mad in this panel, isn't he? Where's that fourth finger? It's got to be right there. No, that looks goofy. I guess I didn't really pencil this very thoughtfully, did I? Well, let's see. The fourth knuckle would be here. And just Dame Lady Cat's face is covering it up there, so. One thing I love about penciling CSP is being able to zoom in this tight so I can get these lines drawn as gracefully as I possibly can. But the danger is always that I'm going to put in detail that I won't be able to see when I'm making it anyway. I've got music in the background because I'm playing around with, and actually this is part of what inspired me to start streaming today. Whoops, wrong tool. Twitch just like emailed with this new royalty-free music app, so you can play music in the background of your stream without having to worry about getting a copyright claim strike against you. I thought, well, why don't I try loading that up? I'm penciling for 40 minutes anyway. I can live stream a little bit while I do that. At least that's the goal, is to finish this in 40 minutes. I guess I could talk about that while I work. Something I've been playing with, and I say playing with because I'm not necessarily always successful at it. Like, you start talking about like budgeting time and stuff, and if you talk about it too confidently, it can sound like you know what you're doing. I'm experimenting with, I'm playing with this idea of, based on past journaling and recording of time it takes me to do stuff, I get a good sense of what a certain page of art is going to take me in terms of time cost. How long is this going to take? Well, I can estimate it that it's going to take me roughly this amount. And so based on what I had left to do on this page, I made a quick estimate. It's like, okay, I think this is going to take me 40 minutes. I think. And that's what I'm going to try to shoot for. Just watch the clock. And see the rest of her. Okay, Deem Lady Cat, let's paint bucket you. That's a bad idea. I didn't close all my shapes there. Right there you go. Yay. That's better. So it's more of a target. Am I going to hit the target? Who knows? I'll try. Not a prediction. Nobody can predict the future. Captain Yarley is a little bit, I wouldn't say freaked out. She's just surprised. She's surprised by how passionate Turnbuckle Tootweiler is here. Save real quick. I'll admit that part of that planning business that I talked about, like where I make an estimate of how long a page will take me, does add sort of a gameful element to the making of the page. Because now it turns into like, well, can I beat the clock kind of thing. And I think what makes it more gameful and fun and less stressful is that I'm not making wild predictions here. I'm not like, oh, can I do a page in 10 minutes? No, of course not. I'm going off of like recorded information. I've recorded how long it takes me to draw almost every page of comics that I've drawn in the past 12 years. So I have a really good record. I have a really good sense of what it costs to draw a page of comics for me now. So when I say, okay, this should take 45 minutes, it's not just a made-up number. But I think this is well, everything is a your mileage may vary thing. But like, as I share this experience, I think that it's important to understand my disposition is like also when I go jogging or running, whatever you want to call it, when I'm moving faster than walking outside, I like to check the time all the time. Like, how much longer do I have to go? Give me a sense of expectation. Not everybody does like to have that, like, that little thing chiming in every couple seconds going like, oh, yeah, you have this far to go. You're halfway done, et cetera, et cetera. I like that personally. So I like to have a very clear sense of how much time there is left. How much time have I spent? Do I close all the lines in Yarley's hair? Yeah, I don't like that. I'm just going to fill it in black. Boom, boom. I feel like that eye needs to move over. There's another advantage of digital illustration. Whoop, just a tiny bit. Boom. Other arm. And then I think I'm done with this panel. Let's look at one of the other cool things that Clip Studio Paint offers. Oh, get that in there, Jersey. There you go. So I got like these indications of burst lines above him as he's screaming. Oh, and look at that tangent, Jersey. No. Fix that right now. This is dedicated to all of you who was watching. And when I originally penciled that line and screamed, what are you going to do about that tangent? Well, your voice came through space and time and hit me right in the head. Okay, so about the burst lines there. So I'm going to go into Clip Studio Paint's materials folder, and there's all these bursts that you can just like drop in. I'm going to do that right now. Watch this. Come on, grab it and drag it. And it dropped into the panel folder. I'm going to drop it into the pencils. And then you can adjust its size. Oh, Jersey, that's cheating. Well, maybe. I don't know. And then go to my pencils layer, turn off my thumbnails. I'm going to use my magic wand tool and turn it on to select all layers. All layers. Click on the negative spaces. And confirm my negative spaces by going to quick mask mode by hitting that Q key. Okay, so there's the areas that I've selected that are now pink. Leave quick mask mode, turn back on the burst layer, and then making sure that I'm on that layer, I'm going to turn on mask, and then it just like masks out anything that is not in that selection. All right, so, and I see now that I got to make the burst a little bit bigger. There we go. And back to penciling. That panel is done. Save. Quick drinks. How long have I been going? 14 minutes. I've got a half hour to finish this last panel. Okay. We're going to do it. Nice and tight for this. Whoops. See, I'm wearing this glove hoping that I don't actually create any screen touch events move my canvas around like that, but still doing it. I feel like I've got. I do have stabilization on this brush. I was wondering why I was moving so slowly. Okay. Turnbuckle. I'm not going to do that line around there. Too small. Yep. Okay. Charlie. I can do that. That background, and I can demonstrate the ruler tools in Clip Studio Paint for those who haven't seen it before. Pretty neat. Oh. Simplify. something I often forget is that you can set what are those called, shortcut tools up in the top bar. So in case you like get rid of you can hit the tab key like in Photoshop to get rid of all of your tools to get maximum screen real estate. I'll do that again. See if you tab, and then you can see some of the tools. Tab to get rid of them all together, and so then you can like toggle back and forth between, your pencil and eraser right up top. And I keep forgetting I can do that. I'm gonna leave my tool palette closed or hidden off screen. Get me more acclimated to using that bar up top. Yeah, see, I just went right to the side there trying to get my eraser, but the eraser's right there, Jerzy. Just and some people would say, well, why don't you use the eraser side of your stylus? Long ago, I've trained myself to not use that eraser when I'm penciling on paper. Not for any particular reason. I have like no philosophical argument to make on why that is. Just I started using Pentel click eraser, which is, do I have one on me? I do. I'll pull it up on screen. Why describe it when I can show it? What do they say? Show, don't tell. So here we go. Here's my Transformers pencil case. And I got one of these guys. You can, extend the eraser. Look how dirty that eraser is from being in the pencil case with all my pencils. Anyway, it's refillable. It's one of those plastic erasers, those white plastic erasers that like really removes the pencil well, in my opinion. So I just don't use the back end of the pencil that way, even though I have erasers on them. So as a result, I don't even think to use that. Less of a preference thing than it is just a habit thing. It's matchy. So I probably talked about this elsewhere, but one of the ideas behind the designs of the hero costumes on these characters was I knew that they were going to possibly have, oh goodness, Captain, seriously, your torso is way too long. They're possibly to have like people dress up as the characters at assemblies and things. So yeah, we're gonna fix that right now. I need my toolbar back for this. So I was trying to think, okay, to make life easier for them, what if I made the costume something that would be like very easy to get with off-the-shelf materials? And I thought, okay, well, what if it was like NASA-style jumpsuits that is like their colors? So that was part of the rationale. Obviously, Dame Lady Cat and Dino Gator here they make things a little bit more difficult, but I thought, wow, you can have your fantastical characters in there, and then if you do a school assembly to like pretending to be these characters, you can just say like, oh, well, sorry, Dame Lady Cat and Dino Gator couldn't make it. They're at home. But little did I know they were going to make mascots of these characters. So there actually is a Dino Gator costume and a Dame Lady Cat costume, which people dress up at assemblies now. And here's another neat feature of Clip Studio Paint. I'm going to widen these lines just a tiny bit. You just drag this tool over top. It will literally thicken all the lines for you. I'm going to see if this works. Just because well, that's too thick. Undo. 0.2. Reason being is that I'm kind of concerned about being able to see these lines on the paper when I print this out. Still too thick. All right, let's go 0.1. Still too thick. I might have to leave it as is. Yeah, look at that. Look how much that thickens it. That's far too much. Yeah, I won't go any smaller than that. All right, never mind. Are the characters done? Characters are done. All right, so now let's do the background, and then how much time do I got? Do I really have 20 minutes? Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so good news is I saved the rulers that I made to make that rough image. So I'm going to select my ruler, copy it, paste onto the pencils layer, and now I'm making sure that my ruler is turned on. It won't let me draw outside of those bounds. So I go, perfect. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Come on. Come on, ruler. This is going to be an interesting one to ink by hand because I'm trying not to use a straight edge for anything. So I'm just trying to use my rulers to create like what's going on here? As much structure as I possibly can. Like get the structure like really good, really solid. So that way when I freehand it, it's not going to look that free-handed. It'll look really, hopefully, like I said, really solid. That's the idea anyway. Okay, I think all those lines have to be done with my other ruler, so turn this off for this. I'm just going to put some little mess of intimation of circuitry and things behind the paneling. Yep. I'm at a freehand. Yeah, Chris, this is something that it took me a long time to get to is the personality of a line. I mean, I think I understood it intuitively, but I didn't know how to apply that in my own work because whenever I tried to do it in my own work, I always felt like, well, but now it's not precise. It's not describing things as precisely as it could. Like, well, I think it was talking with Mark Siegel of First Second years ago. I was talking with him, and he's talking about this idea of a personality of line, or rather the handwriting of the artist, and not like the way they draw word balloons or the lettering inside, but sort of like how all of our handwriting has a certain kind of character. The lines that we draw have a certain kind of character. I think that helped get me there a little bit more. I recognized that, oh, if I ink over top of solid structure, but like let my lines be what my lines are. Yeah, it's like you're saying, like it's like a more, it makes it more of a cohesive world. It feels unified in some hard to describe way. And I was so, I mean, this is like, I don't know, I'm not going to beat myself up about it, because I think this is part of like my growth as an artist. It's like I started out just being so concerned about getting it done right, making the competency show. Yeah, that really was what it was about. Okay, let's break out our circle tool for this one. How did I do that again? Let's turn the ruler back on. There we go. Line there. Here's me doing more aping of Floro Dairy's design aesthetic. Could even just go like this if I really, yeah, that's fine. I have another ruler to do these lines, but I'm going to break out in a second. But oh, come now. Not that tool. Let's fix that, because I think I've got something going on here that shouldn't be. Okay. Okay, yep, that's right. Oops. Not drawing through. I always tell my students to draw through. I'm going to mess up this really nice job I did in the foreground character, though. It'll live. In erase lines. Besides, you got a little bit of an abundance of time going on. Use it. Oh, turn your ruler back on, kid. Okay. Here's some more visual shorthand to say you're in a future base. When you put like an open panel with like some, just like some visible conduit slash circuitry slash technical looking gobbledygook in there, which they did on a lot of my favorite cartoons growing up. And I don't know what that stuff is meant to represent. I guess I've discovered what my next question is going to be if I ever get to go to another animation or 80s cartoon festival of any kind, is like when I meet these artists who worked on these series, and ask them like, okay, what is that representing there? What's that the visual shorthand for? Here's how I think it. This is what I think it is, but I would love to hear your perspective on it. To me, it just signals like, okay, well, it's yeah, tech abstraction. Yes, yeah, that really is how it feels to me. Nope, come on, stop that. Nope, I'm gonna break up my line tool for this. In the same way that cartoons are an abstraction, right? It's like these lines don't really exist. Stuff like this. Did I build this background as a 3D model for reference? No, I did not. I just like roughed out a background. And I mean, this project is 10 years old now. So like I've drawn this background enough times that I have like a rough idea of like what it looks like. And then I just applied the ruler tool over top of it and just started, you know, working it out properly. But, you know, I'm thinking about that a lot. I've got a project coming up where there's going to be a very specific location with like very specific areas laid out in it. And I'm thinking like maybe it'd be a good idea to do a model of the house, even if it's just an empty location. Like if I don't put all the furniture in it, although it'd probably be a good idea to put all the furniture in it too. It seems like a lot of front end work for something that will pay big dividends down the road when I have to do like a lot of like scene changes. I think I've got. I have done it in the past with projects. Okay. Let's get my boom boom. Whoop. Filled with transparent ink. And poor Dame Lady Cat, I filled in your nose. There we go. Okay, not much left to do. So now I'm going to delete this ruler and pull up the one from the other bit that I did. Copy, paste, and draw these parts. Oh, helps if you turn your ruler on, Jerzy. What I want to do here is I want to round these corners. Okay. Look at that. That takes care of that little tangent here. Yep. Accidentally pulled a ruler down from the. Up. This ruler's length for this tool. Okay. One. Just for the lines going in this direction. I forgot that's what I set that ruler up for. I didn't set it up for the other parts of the illustration. And yeah, I'm going to have to pull back in that other ruler because I'm seeing some parts that I missed. Let's get these parts done. I'll bring that other ruler back. Did I miss anybody? That screen is done. Okay, let's delete this ruler now. Yeah, that is exactly. You know, in the computer, the big like Justice League computer that they're all working at here, it does change from book to book. Like as it gets into like the middle school and higher grade books, it gets a little bit more technical and there's more floating screens. And there isn't as much grid work, but yes, for this first grade book, I'm very much doing like basically Battleship. Yeah. But the idea that persists among all of the issues that span, kindergarten, well, first grade through 10th grade, is that big screen chair. That's basically the idea that I keep. How specifically it looks changes book to book. So later on, it'll become more of like a bunch of inset screens with like some grid work in the background, but. Okay, now what was I thinking here? Go back in time, talk to past Jerzy about what his process was on doing this. I think, did I just freehand those? Looks like I did like an actual ruler on that, but I don't have it saved. Interesting. I was watching TV while drawing this page, or roughing this page, so I don't quite remember what my thought process was. Watching Return of the Return of the Vampire with Bela Lugosi. A few bent marks here. Yeah, it sure looks like I had another ruler worked out. Maybe I was just imagining it. I don't know. Hmm. Will it work for this? No, it does not. All right, so now let's put in the final. I'll give the page a once over. Might be done. Oh my gosh! Like I am very very pleased with myself. Like for naming 45 minutes is the time this is going to take. Because I'm closing in on that. Yeah, I was saying this earlier. Is like part of the design idea behind this character is that since it was for a series of books that were going to be distributed in schools, and it was mentioned to me that there might have like people from the organization showing up at assemblies dressed as the characters. I tried to make their lives easier by designing the characters in such a way that you didn't have to have an impossible physique to be the character, and you could get a lot of the materials for the outfits off the rack, as it were. And so I thought, okay, well, like basically NASA jumpsuit kind of idea was the initial thought. As somebody who cosplays and does some pretty amazing jobs with his costuming, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about in terms of those limitations of like what you can find and where. Making your life easier by designing costumes with a certain degree of off the rack sensibility. That's stuff you have to actually sew. Although I wouldn't be surprised to find out that you actually custom sew some of your stuff, Chris. Okay, I'm gonna make a new ruler for this last part just to speed things up. Okay, new ruler. Effective ruler. One. Okay. Here and I forgot this little one of these dudes. Little handle that you just push forward for whatever reason. Dadgummit. I'll go to there. Okay. I think let's turn off our roughs layer. I think I'm done. See that poor turnbuckle throws a tantrum in this last panel. His feelings are hard to manage. We've done a Ripley costume from a jumpsuit made of a Goodwill find. Of course, I had to find the pocket-sized tabby cat as an accessory. That is amazing that you'd find a jumpsuit at Goodwill. That is an awesome find. They did do one of the people did cosplay as this main character with the jumpsuit. I don't remember where they got it, but yeah, I mean, there's something that just feels very like utterly practical about an outfit like that, where you just basically carry everything you need on your person. All right. Well, I am at time. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thanks, Chris, for chatting with me while I was working. I'll do another stream when I'm inking the page before this. I'll be inking it on Bristol board. So until next time, everybody, I have been Jerzy Drozd, jdrozd.com, Jerzy Drozd on Instagram.